Good evening and welcome to Get Vocal. I'm doing the intro tonight because Ali's a part-timer, so this is my intro. Lads, it's been a busy week. We got George on, who's a Newcastle fan. We got Ralph, who's a United fan. Obviously, we are going to talk about Liverpool Manchester United game later on. We're going to talk Newcastle later on, but let's talk. George just made a good subject. Mesut Ozil, lads. I think it's a shame that whenever a world-class player leaves the Premier League, and I think Ozil on his day was definitely world-class, but how on earth has it got to the stage at Newcastle where he's on 300 or whatever it is grand a week? And he's sitting at home.
You're Arsenal, bud.
Arsenal. Arsenal. And he's live tweeting games. How and why has it got to that situation, George?
I have no idea if I'm perfect. Well, I think he's obviously got some kind of problem with backroom staff and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's obviously, I think, played a part. Because you can't. I mean, under Wenger, he was, as far as I can recollect, he was, A-OK, nothing was going wrong. And then Wenger left, and Emery came in, and it all went tits up. So it's you can't really say 100% what the problem was, because you're never going to know. Unless you ask Ozil himself or Emery himself, what was the problem, then no one's ever going to know concrete why this has happened.
See, This is when world-class managers, and everyone talks about Pep, Klopp, Ferguson, Ancelotti, people like that. World-class managers, their tactics but then often it's their man management skills that set them apart from anyone else in the world. Would you agree with that, Ralph? And to be honest with you, it seems like there's been a real lack of man management when it comes to Ozil.
I think once he knew that Wenger had gone, and I think he knew that he could sort of get the better hand of the manager and sort of dictate what he wanted, or sort of start doing it. He started throwing his toys at. He started becoming a harder player to sort of manage, didn't he? I think Wenger had the logistics of it. I think Emery didn't really have it in him to coach him or look after him, I don't think.
I just remember times he was just. Do you remember that? What season was it when he had every game he seemed to have an assist? He had 20 assists.
Yeah, 2016. 2016.
He was unbelievable, wasn't he? He was world class, genuinely world. Every other ball he was playing was an assist, and he was. And then for some reason, he's just fallen off the end of the cliff. I mean,
well, I don't think you say that he's fallen off the end of the cliff. I mean, I don't think he's lost that ability. He's still that good, but he's just not playing. Yeah. And part of it, I think, as well, it's got something to do with that massive, stupid contract they put him on. Of £350,000 a week. He's not going to have to work another day in his life. What is his motivation for turning up to turn up for a team that doesn't want him?
Was he made to feel? What, like you said, we don't know what was going on at the training ground. So was he being made to feel unwelcome?
But he is a work. It should never be that a world-class talent should have a falling out with a manager. The managers should be able to manage their players. For me, and especially Arsenal.
Style, was it? I mean, I don't think Emery is the kind of manager to go and put his arm around the player and say, "I need you in my corner." Probably, I would say that the friction between Emery and Ozil is what's caused all this. At least sparked it, and then it's just sort of spiraled out of control from there. I don't know why Arteta doesn't bring Ozil back into the fold. Ozil is genuinely on his day, he could be one of the best players in the world, and to not even include him in the squad, it baffles me, honestly. It's
could it be?
Let me put it like this: if Arsenal don't want him, I'll take him at Newcastle. Yeah, I'd be happy.
Could it be that number 10s are going out of the game? Because he was an out-and-out number 10, wasn't he? He was genuinely the most number 10 player. He just kind of sat behind the two strikers, kind of drifted out. He didn't run around much, did he?
Look at Kevin De Bruyne. Look at Fernandes.
Oh, I don't know. They do kind of. We'll get into Fernandes a bit later on, actually, because he wasn't.
Got a couple of shocking games.
I mean, it does strike me that Ozil isn't the kind of player to track back. I've never seen him, put a tackle in on anyone. I don't think. So maybe that's why, he was sort of out of favour, is because he wasn't willing to put in the effort to, for Emery, and that's what caused that sort of friction.
Here he is.
There he is. Come on, you are here. He looks delighted. His son has not just been a little shit.
Talking about that red boy.
Yeah, he needs a bottle. He's just gonna have a bottle with a straw. That's my prediction. He's not even gonna have a glass of wine. He's gonna have a bottle with a straw, or a yard of wine.
Haven't had the time to sort anything out, mate.
You're right or not?
Yeah.
Oh dear. We've all been there, my old bean. Well, George hasn't. Have you? I don't know if George has or not. Have you got any kids? No.
No.
We're talking about We're talking about what a shame it is to see someone of his talent live tweeting games. Mesut Ozil. Tweeting games instead of entertaining us on a pitch, and now he's off back to Turkey.
He was such a talent when he joined Arsenal, wasn't he?
We were talking about that season where he had 20 assists or something, and he was just carving teams up.
Yeah, there you go. And now he's off to Fenerbahce. The team he's always supported, apparently.
It was my dream to play for Fenerbahce.
He's not the only player from that sort of era, that sort of Arsenal era that fell off a cliff as well. I mean, Jack Wilshere did the same thing, and now he hasn't got a club.
Yeah.
But he's not even 30. I don't know what the heck. Looking back at some of the players that Arsenal have had, where they've ended up isn't exactly special.
Is Jack Wilshere any worse than what they've got at the moment? No. I don't think Jack Wilshere was any worse than that. What's he called? Eleme? What's that guy with dreadlocks called?
How many?
I don't think Jack Wilshere is any worse than him.
Yeah, he is.
Is he? You like him, do you?
Well, no, you said he's any worse. I'm saying he is worse.
You reckon he is?
He's worse than him, isn't he? Yeah, because you're asking how he is, not how he was. He's been dining out on that semi-final against Barcelona for God knows how long.
Yeah,
he had half a good season for Bournemouth, and then came to us, got injured for 2 years. When he was fit, he was nothing. He couldn't make it into the first team at West Ham. This was a guy, that was bossing Xavi around 10 years ago. Every time he played for England, he just fell over all the time. Every time he got tackled, I think we talked about it the other week, didn't we, about players that could and should have gone on to do much better things. But he's been unlucky with injuries, but he's a shadow of the player that he could have been.
Do you think it's a coincidence that number 10s, genuine number 10s, are just going to sit behind strikers are going a little bit out of fashion as well? Could it be the game's moved on without him? Because he can't play on the wing, because he doesn't track back. All wingers now want to track back, don't they? They all need to track back. But I just don't see where Ozil plays in the modern game, where everyone has a job to do defensively. I don't see where he plays.
I'd say stick him in the centre of the park with two other midfielders and let him just pass and pass.
In like a diamond formation, yeah.
Yeah, or in a 4-3-3 and stick him in the centre.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the ball, play him ahead and then just ask him to just fucking stand there and defend. What do you think of West Ham this week, Ali? Happy?
I think I messaged you during the game, didn't I? Saying we haven't put our chances away here, and now it's when it's 1-0 with 10 minutes left against any team, but particularly against teams that are big, physical, aerial. It's quite scary to only be 1-0 up, and we should have had the game put to bed quite early on. I thought Moyes was great after the game because he just came out and said, "Yeah, nice we won, but we should have done a lot better," which I think is how a lot of the fans felt during the game. But it's another 3 points, isn't it? So I can't complain.
You're doing pretty well on the table right now as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this is the best position we've ever been after 18 games. So, yeah, in the history of the Premier League, at least.
There's absolutely no reason why you can't finish top 4.
Only 8 points off United.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think West Ham would finish top 4 just because there's so much competition for those places at the moment.
They've got no European football. They've got the cup competition. They've got no Europa League curse or Champions League to worry about. He's got young, hungry footballers who haven't got midweek commitments.
The transfer window is quite key because we haven't got any attackers. We've got no strikers. Antonio's out again, or maybe out for West Brom on Tuesday. He can't play game after game. So we're out in the transfer market at the moment. There's lots of rumours about who we're going to sign. Thanks. But we need someone soon because kind of screwed without it, and
West Brom alone. He's just what you need.
It's funny that everyone thinks they can offload this shit onto West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah, because
West Ham reject, George.
That's what mostly what happened.
You paid us for him, didn't you?
We give him on a free transfer.
On a free. There you go. So I think that speaks volumes. We don't want another. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big advocate of Andy Carroll. When he was fit for us, he was fantastic.
Same here. I like him. If he was in a team, which outstanding delivery, and he played 20 games. If he played 40 games, you'd score 20 goals without even blinking. No problem at all. He just needs service. Andy Carroll just needs service.
Say that though, but he missed some crucial chances against Arsenal the other night.
He did. I think one of them he didn't realise he was onside. He just kind of side-footed it wide. He thought it was offside, but he wasn't, was he? Oh, I like Andy Carroll.
When he left Liverpool.
I like Andy Carroll. I want Andy Carroll to do well, but he scored 1 goal in 2 years. It's, he needs to score more goals. That's just
he does. It's his job, isn't it?
He's got to be on the park first, though, hasn't he, George? I think that's.
He's not even on the contract.
He's only really starting lately.
You play deal or something like that. So I think he gets like a lump sum for every single game he starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's only been a handful of games. It's personally, I think after that Arsenal game, what we should have done against Sheffield United was to put Wilson and Carroll on the same pitch and go for them. But that's the one thing that Newcastle are missing: goals. We've been missing them for about fucking 7 years.
Ralph's writing down stats here. I can't wait to hear what Ralph's about to say. He's actually writing stuff down here.
I'm jotting everything.
Hey?
I think Carroll wasted himself when he left Newcastle the first time.
Yeah.
I think going to Liverpool was a bit of a wrong decision career-wise.
And for us, because he didn't just fit our style of play at all.
I think they tried replacing Crouch with him, didn't they? I think.
Well, on paper, Suarez and Carroll was a really, really quite a good combination, but they never actually played together. So that was a panic.
You had SAS at the time, didn't you?
Say again?
Didn't you have SAS at the time?
Sturridge and who? Suarez and Sturridge, yeah. But no, it's sad. I hope Andy Carroll does turn up because he looks like he's getting into positions, George. He is getting into positions. The ball is falling to him. I think he just needs to smash one in and he'll be off and running. Honestly, I just think he needs to take a chance.
He scored against Leicester when we lost there, but that was I was genuinely quite happy that he had scored because it's Andy Carroll and he's from I agree he should never have left to begin with, but I have to think that Liverpool probably offered him a lot of money in order to move him. So you say it was his bad career decision, but if he got paid God knows how many millions of pounds to play for Liverpool, then sound career decision in my opinion.
And Newcastle got paid a lot of money for him as well.
Yeah, it was 35 million.
And then bought him back, didn't he? How much did they pay for him to get back? Was it free?
Yeah, free transfer. I can't remember what we bought with the 35 million. I think it was
Sports Direct.
Probably a London Dial hoodie.
Yeah. Mike Ashley funneled all the money into making those giant novelty tea mugs that you can make. Get at Sports Direct.
Yeah, thanks. I've got one of those.
There you go.
So
Andy Carroll paid for that.
George, if not Bruce, we've just been talking about this before we come on. If not Bruce, let's do it honestly.
Eddie Howe.
He just does not fit Newcastle United, Steve Bruce. Who would you like to see as a manager? You just seen Kevin De Bruyne's pass?
I just saw the Stones goal and oh my God. And I put Stones in my dream team this week.
Kevin De Bruyne's cross, though. What about Kevin? I've been telling these two about Kevin De Bruyne's cross.
Yeah.
George, who would you realistically like? Now, let's talk literally, because Steve Bruce is a nice chap. He gives it 100%, but he is the exact opposite of what Newcastle United stands for tactics-wise, right? We've just said that before we come on air. So who would you like, realistically?
Well, I mean, firstly, Steve Bruce. I mean, you need to be more than just a nice bloke to keep your job. I mean, like,
yeah.
No, honestly, it's like that's what I hear people say about him. Steve Bruce, he's a nice bloke. Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest, he's a crap manager. So, yeah, move him on. I would. I'm Eddie Howe. I think he's the only one that I can really think of that's actually available. You know,
Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure he's.
Newcastle need to think like that because Newcastle are a massive club.
I agree.
Do you remember 2 episodes ago when I said about Coutinho leaving, and you were like, "Oh well, what? You're fucking Newcastle United."
Yeah,
you're Newcastle United.
You've had Benitez, and that's the kind of level of manager you, as a club, you should be looking at, like you know, like an Ancelotti or someone like that, a successful foreign manager.
If Everton can get Ancelotti,
with a huge fan base.
You are Newcastle and Leeds are legitimately top 6 clubs if they can sort themselves out. Legitimately, they are huge, massive clubs. They just need to find a way.
Well, I do agree with what you say about big clubs. I mean, I would argue that Newcastle and Leeds are bigger clubs in terms of like the entire like fan base and stuff like that than Manchester City, because really, in theory, looking at Manchester City, they're a big club, yes, in terms of they get into the Champions League, they do all this kind of stuff like that, you know, blah blah blah. But when it comes to actually like heritage and, you know. I'd argue the amount of fans. I would argue that Newcastle is a bigger club than Manchester City.
But, they are.
You know, when it comes to getting all these megastar managers and players and stuff like that, they're not going to want to play for Newcastle. Why would they? Why would anyone want to become Newcastle United manager? It's a thankless task. If you try your best with the shoestring budget that Steve Bruce has got, and you try to defend as much as possible, the fans are going to hate you. And if you try and attack and lose every other game, then you're probably going to get sacked anyway by Mike Ashley. So it's you can't accept that job and then not expect to get sacked at some point.
I'm just checking your shoestring budget, George. I'm sure didn't you pay 40 million for Joe Linton, 20 million for Sam Maximan? And
then what did Almiron cost? He was up there as well. Almiron was up there.
Yes.
You could have
very brief flash in the pan of Mike Ashley's ownership, and the only reason he's done that is to help make the team look better, so it's easier to sell. And it hasn't worked.
George, wasn't it because the club did some good business with Perez, didn't they? Wasn't he 30 million? He got for him.
Well over £30 million for Perez. I mean, that was a ludicrous amount of money considering it was, Isaac Perez. He's all right, but he's not. I don't think he's not going to score 30 goals a season for you, is he? Let's be honest. So,
Knows Almiron though, isn't he? He's only scored 1 goal in about 30.
Yeah, he has his fits. So he's a bit like Dan James at Man United. Almiron.
Yeah, get rid of Dan James. Useless.
Oh, I don't know. I quite like him. Whenever he plays, he looks all right to me.
You're going to say that you're a Liverpool fan.
Almiron is unique from what I've seen in the Premier League because he seems to be entirely one-footed. He just like if he lands on the wrong foot, it's going to rosette, and
he's also 11 stone gripping wet.
Yeah, well, he is the lightest of lightweights. Yes, that is also true. And there's been some weird stuff going on with his agent apparently as well. I mean, I think he's trying to force a move out of the club at some point. To, I think he has delusions of grandeur and thinks that because he's played in the Premier League for a season or two, that automatically means he should be moving on to a bigger club. I don't think he would. I think he's Newcastle level. That's it. Where we are now is his level, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to get any better or any worse. He's just he's a bit too soft for the Premier League. Although he does seem to be getting used as a makeshift defender by Steve Bruce.
And then all the way in the box. Like I've seen 2 goals where he's been messing around at the left back, doing Cruyff turns in his box. He's giving a ball away and he's scored straight.
He's trying to sign Brandon Williams from United, isn't he? I think.
Say again.
He's trying to get Brandon Williams from United on loan.
Who, Steve Bruce?
Yeah.
Haven't they got?
Yeah.
Left back. Yeah, left back. They're probably sure.
Essentially, what I know so far, and what sort of like Steve Bruce sort of confirmed is the fact that he has no money to buy players. The money we spent on Wilson is literally all we had for this season. So we're not going to be buying any players. The only option is really to loan players. So that's why when I saw £15 million for Josh King, I sort of laughed a bit because I know we're not going to be buying anyone. We haven't got any money to spend, or at least Mike actually has got money, but he doesn't want us to spend. So
Danny Rose from Tottenham you could have had on left back.
Danny Rose, he was a bit naff when we had him at Newcastle. Jamal Lewis is he makes mistakes and he has trouble sometimes, but he's still a young player, and personally, I think he was a great signing when we bought him. It's just we have no cover in that position at the minute. I think the only other left back we've got is a makeshift left back in Paul Dummett, and he's really a centre back, if anything. And we play Matt Ritchie there a few times. What basically Jamal Lewis needs is some competition.
George, when you look at your like starting 11, and
particularly
when you look at your starting back 4 of largely kind of Premier League players, English, British that played in the Premier League for a season or two at least, and then some big money signings through your midfield and attack, and we were all saying a few weeks ago that we thought Wilson and Fraser were great signings in the summer as well, so on and so forth. Isn't part of the problem not what players you've got, but tactics and as we've all alluded to, the manager himself? Because I see your team on paper and I think you should be higher up the league than you are.
Yeah, I mean, I would go along with that. I mean, I think Newcastle's best asset are our centre backs. We have some very, very talented defenders. We're weakest in midfield, and we have a decent striker now. It's but you're right. I think that team could definitely do more than they are doing. I mean, there's no getting around it now. We're in a relegation battle. I know we're a few points off of. We were on 19 points, and Fulham are on like 12 points or something. But Newcastle's next 8 games, I've just had a look at them, and they are not good. There's not a single match in there that I think Newcastle will win. We could very well. So next we've got. Well, I've just got a list of them here. So next we've got Arsenal. That's on Monday.
Why can't you beat Arsenal?
Yeah, shit.
Why can't you beat Arsenal?
Yeah, but look what happened in the FA Cup when Steve Bruce played ultra defensive against Arsenal, invited all that pressure on them. They had so many chances to score, and they got unlucky on that night. That Newcastle basically that's what Newcastle have been doing all season. We've been getting lucky in these games. We've been nabbing a goal against Spurs, or nabbing a last-minute free kick against Wolves, and snatching a point is literally all that we seem to be doing at the minute. And I just think we'll roll over against Arsenal. You say, why can't you beat them? I think we could beat them if we actually went out and tried to play them. But no, we're just going to invite pressure and they're going to score. That's it. So I don't hold out hopes for that game. And then after that, we've got Aston Villa, which, they're on super duper form at the minute. And then after that, we've got Leeds United. After that, we've got Everton.
Whoa. Leeds United, wide open. Why can't you beat Leeds United?
Because we'll sit back.
Yeah, but they are, our defence is dodgy. They haven't got one. They are, you could drive a tank through the centre of Leeds United at the moment. And I love the way they play. Ali quite rightly said they are a breath of fresh air because they are like this era's Keegan, as we were saying before we come on, George. You'll score 6, we'll score 7 kind of attitude. I love it.
Yeah.
But as a result,
I'd like to revise my appraisal now to more of.
Well, let's just cast an eye back. Let's just cast an eye back to the last time that Leeds played Newcastle earlier in the season, and they beat us 5-2. Okay, we looked at for good portions of that game that we were actually in it. Like we came back and equalised, I think twice or something. And then they just sort of ran. Our players got tired as we got to the end of the game, and they just absolutely steamrolled us for the last 20 minutes, and we conceded 3 goals. It was a terrible performance overall. We were all right in segments, mainly from set pieces. But that you say that, why can't you beat Leeds? The reason we won't beat Leeds is because we're going to sit so far back and invite all that attacking talent they've got. We just invite it onto us, and then they score. And that forces Steve Bruce to then come out and try and score, which he won't because he's also a crap manager for managing attacking players. And then they'll score another goal. And that'll instantly, we won't come back from 2-0 down, and that'll be it. That's my prediction for that match. Leeds, I think, will beat us. And then that's just for January. Moving on from there, Crystal Palace. Yeah, we could beat Crystal Palace, but probably won't. Southampton, they're on great form at the minute. Chelsea, Manchester United, and Wolves.
What's his name back? What's his name? The winger.
Sam
Got COVID. When's he back?
No idea. Apparently, he's suffering from long COVID, which means that basically he's physically ruined. So he could be back for a month. 2 months.
He's not even in the UK, is he? He's in France.
Yeah, he was celebrating Christmas in Paris.
Well, and he's probably your best player, isn't he? So.
By far, yeah. He's literally, as soon as I see him on the ball, I think, wow, he is fantastic going forward. And it's such a shame that he's in the Newcastle United team with Steve Bruce at the helm, because if he played for Leeds, oh my God, if he played for Leeds, Jesus Christ, he would be, 15 goals a season easy. But he doesn't play for Leeds, he plays for Newcastle United, and we like to play in our own half. So,
George, to try and lift your gloom a little bit, because I can see, you're not overly optimistic about Newcastle's rest of the season, or particularly the last 8 games at the moment. Can Doncaster knock West Ham out of the cup?
Yes. If Crawley Town can knock Leeds out of the cup, why can't Doncaster, who are in a league above them, knock out?
Oh my word, Man City are turning it on, lads.
That's beauty. George, well, the simple answer to that is that we are massive.
You haven't seen the Donny lads.
We scraped through against non-league Stockport, so and then should we get through,
I actually want to go and watch the winners between Newcastle and Doncaster Rovers, and the Doncaster Rovers fans were actually louder than the Newcastle fans. They genuinely, Doncaster Rovers has got some really passionate and loud fans, but although this is COVID, so they're not going to be any fans. But I still think that or at least I hold out hope that Doncaster will pull out a result, because I do like Doncaster. They're my hometown team. So
first team I ever saw play live, George.
Really?
With Donny, yeah. Away to Peterborough United.
I bet that was a classic.
It was Peterborough 5, Doncaster 2.
Wow.
Yeah, 1981, I think it was, something like that.
Let's get Ralph's opinion. What do you think, Ralph? Oh, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, he's back. just went for a piss in the grass. Yeah. So, did you watch?
You mocked Doncaster Rovers, but they are sitting 4th in League One at the minute. And
see, Ali, you're in the shit. We've already got United away, easy, no problem at all.
But then you've got Doncaster, so
Well, do we have the winner? Do we have the winner?
Yeah, you've got the winner of Doncaster West Ham. So,
home or away? Are we at home or away if we win?
At home, I believe.
Oh. Yeah, we're fucked.
4-0 United at Old Trafford.
4-0 United, did you say? Yeah, well, probably.
Trafford, yeah.
We could play for 3 weeks at the moment. By the way, City have scored 2 world-class goals tonight. They are coming. Big time.
This season is just been completely unpredictable, though, hasn't it? Because, honestly, the way things were going, I thought, Liverpool win the league again, and it might be a bit closer this time, but it'll still be sort of the same similar result. Chelsea will probably finish top 4, Spurs, and maybe Manchester United. That was what the thinking was at the start, and I even thought West Ham were going to get relegated, and then it's completely flipped on its head. West Ham are sitting pretty in the top half of the table. Manchester United are top of the table.
That's where the stuff gets really weird. Manchester United are top of the table. That's where it gets weird. You know what I mean?
Man City were languishing sort of mid-table, and now they're in second place. It's gone crazy. And Liverpool are in 4th. I haven't seen Liverpool in 4th for years.
Well, probably since before Virgil van Dijk joined.
Yeah.
It's a big miss, isn't it? Big miss.
The only terrible thing about this season is that Newcastle have remained largely the same and are still in the same 15th place position.
Consistency is very important.
Yeah, we're consistently crap.
Yeah.
Don't think Virgil van Dijk would change the game today, though.
Oh, I don't know. He does do a lovely long ball. No, he wouldn't know. No. I thought Fabinho was absolutely outstanding against Rashford.
He got man of the match, didn't he?
He did.
Rated 8 on Sky Sports. Yeah.
He was absolutely outstanding against one-on-one with
Fernandes
Rashford.
rated 3 out of 10.
What?
Fernandes rated 3 out of 10.
By who?
With Sky Sports.
Fernandes got 3 out of 10. Now, okay, let's talk about Ozil. Fernandes, when was the last time he influenced a really big game? He's great against the smaller clubs, but against like a Liverpool, City, Spurs, Leicester, West Ham,
PSG away in Champions League.
Who?
PSG away.
PSG away. Yeah, he had a good game that day. He had a penalty. Hang on, he scored a penalty, didn't he? Did he actually do anything else apart from that?
Does he do anything else? I only ever see him score penalties. I know
he is a terrific player. He's my kind of a player.
He's a lot, but I only ever see the highlights where he scores penalties. So that's the duo.
He is a terrific player. He's my kind of player. He's a maverick. But what I was saying is he a bit of a flat track bully, Ralph?
I don't know. I think we've relied on him so much. I think we're overplaying him a little bit now.
True, very true. Yeah.
I think we haven't given him a rest.
Which brings me to my next point: is why in God's green earth did you buy Donny van Beek?
We say this every week, don't we? No
why?
Van der Beek.
Well, he's got a big part to play in the season. Apparently,
same thing. So this game today, this is billed as the big game, and blah, blah. To be honest with you, it did feel like a big game, and there have certainly been worse big games that have been hyped up.
Wan-Bissaka got marked 6 out of 10.
Wan-Bissaka, I thought he was pretty close to man of the match, to be honest. Wan-Bissaka was absolutely brilliant against Sadio Mane and Salah. So that's bollock. I would have given Bruno Fernandes about 6 out of 10. I thought he was still all right.
Well, Pogba got a 6. I'd give him more than Pogba. But...
What?
I think, Mark, if we're brutally honest about the tie, it usually flatters to deceive, doesn't it? So, when we were giving the predictions earlier, I was like, it'll be 4-2 or it'll be 0-0.
Yeah,
we knew that it's most likely to be 0-0. Nine times, from the last 9 times we've played each other, 6 times it's been a draw.
Yeah.
It's just the way, there's a lot of... I think both teams are as scared as losing as they are looking forward to winning when they play each other.
To be honest with you, Rashford 5.
Or -5. How do you read it?
-5.
That's incredible, mate. I don't think he deserved a 3. And you know, I love
his passing was just abysmal. I thought, but to answer your question from a minute ago, Mark, that's the only time I've seen Fernandes play that badly, as he played today. So, but, you know,
he's a terrific player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. What I'm saying is, when it comes to big games, does he do enough?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen enough big games with him in them to make a cast iron judgment.
He was brilliant at Everton.
12 months. Remember, he's been 12 months, and for a couple of months of that, the season's been postponed.
That's true. That's very true. I'll give you that. Very true. He's a terrific player. I wish he was in our midfield.
He's won Player of the Month 4 times in a calendar year. The first player to ever do that. So it sounds like he's turning up quite a lot.
That's 4 out of 12, basically. 4 out of 12 months.
Yeah.
Thiago to me, I thought Thiago Silva is going to be our best midfielder since Xabi Alonso. I think today he was just.
Played for Chelsea,
Who? Thiago Silva. Thiago, that's what I meant. Thiago, you know what I mean?
Is it Thiago Alcantara or something like that?
Thiago Alcantara, mate. He sent Bruno Fernandes for a hot dog at least 3 times. And he just skipped past him like he wasn't even there. No, I think once we do find our rhythm again, I think Thiago's going to be vital to that. He is just fantastic. Absolutely.
Good passer, very accurate.
Going back to what you said, Ali, about 3 episodes ago, about Salah and our front 3, you're right. Something is not right. Something's not there at the moment. I don't know what it is, but something is not clicking in our attacking.
Yeah.
The crosses that our fullbacks were putting in last season are now just aimless and not finding targets at all. It's worrying, but we're not even creating the chances to miss. You know what I mean? Well, we are.
Well, it seems to be Firmino taking quite a lot of the stick, but if I was Liverpool manager, which obviously I'm not because I'm not my badges, or am I a football coach or manager? But I'd drop Salah tomorrow.
I would move Salah into 9.
Would you like if we're in the January transfer window? If someone came in and sort of offered, to buy Salah, would you take that?
If we could do a deal like we did for Alisson and Van Dijk to improve the squad, yes, I would instantly. So if we could buy
sell Salah and buy Grealish.
Say again?
If you could sell Salah and buy Grealish, you can do it.
Grealish is perfect where he is. I don't think Grealish needs to move anywhere. Right? He's the man. He's like the Gerrard of Villa, or he's like the Gerrard or the Ronaldo in his United days at Villa right now. He's the main man. If he left now for a bigger club, it would completely jeopardise the progress he's made, in my opinion. He's the main man at Villa. Everything goes through him. He's the main man. He's playing the football of his life, and I just don't think he should move.
To be fair, if you did get rid of Salah, you sold him on for some ludicrous transfer fee, you could probably, try and replace him. But what would your shortlist be? I mean, I would probably go for Jadon Sancho. If you're looking for someone to play on the right.
Goals in our team, so I would probably, depending on you know what players' contracts are running down. I know Mbappe's only got 2 years left in his contract, and everyone's
why would he leave PSG though, Mbappe?
Because he wants to challenge himself.
Yeah, but they probably pay him more than the entire Liverpool squad put together.
But he's also very, very, very good friends with LeBron James, who is a minority owner of Liverpool Football Club, and he's a Nike athlete, and we are now sponsored by Nike. So Nike could probably fiddle it so we kind of pay his wages through his sponsorship deal or something. I don't know how they do it in PSG, but the thing we're missing really. God love Bobby Firmino, but he is just not. Today again, he proved it. He is not a ruthless, cold-blooded number 9. He is 3-0 City. John Stones doubled, Ali.
Having a good week.
Bobby Firmino, he gives it everything. He's 100%er. He works for the team, but I'm not interested in that anymore. When it comes to strikers,
No,
I want
Lukaku.
Don't you want a Haaland type player?
Perfect, because he can do a bit of everything. I just want someone in between the sticks when the ball enters that ball. I'd be like Calvin Lewin from Everton. He is always in the right place at the right time in that box. He's in the middle.
But if he joined Liverpool, he'd instantly become the most hated man in England.
I'm not suggesting, but someone like that who's constantly in the box.
So would you say that possibly Dirk Kuyt was the last time that Liverpool had a number 9 like that? Because I'm trying to think of one since.
Like Torres.
Yeah.
Someone like Torres in his pomp now. Can you imagine in this Liverpool team right now? Suarez in the team would be awesome. Sturridge. Hell, Daniel Sturridge. Someone just to finish. Someone just to be in the box, not do anything else. I'm not interested in a number 9 that runs around a lot. I'm interested in a number 9 who just wants to score goals.
Like a Harry Kane.
I love Bobby Firmino as a player. He works hard. I'm not interested in that anymore. We're fighting for the league. We're fighting for the Champions League. I want someone to score goals. Someone like a Haaland or an
Martial.
Who?
Martial.
You just did Martial? He scored about 3 in the last year.
Who's playing the Premier League?
I do like Martial, though. I think with the right management.
Lazy.
But yes, I'm not. And again, today, we bring on Origi to play on the wing, but we've got Taki who's on the. See what I mean, Ali? He doesn't trust our forward options at all.
Would you take over Firmino then? Would you take Callum Wilson?
Yes, in a heartbeat. Goal scorer. Pacing behind. In a heartbeat. A fit Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson's rated by a lot of clubs.
I love Callum Wilson.
I bet he is absolutely kicking himself that he didn't join.
All right.
He's
Danny
big.
Ings.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. Biggest regret. I said to the other day, Ali, massive regret. Massive regret we didn't keep him for another year. He would just score for fun in this Liverpool team right now. All the crosses we send in, he'd just be massive regret that. Bobby would be a great backup striker. Bobby Firmino would be a great backup striker. He's dependable. He doesn't really get injured, touch wood, and he works hard. But I think if you look around, Aguero, cold-blooded, number 9, scored goals. Harry Kane, cold-blooded, scores goals. Rashford, Martial, Cavani. I'll give you a Cavani. Cold-blooded, scores goals. Liverpool, look at our striking options. Bobby Firmino scored, 5 in 50 games or something? Taki can't even get on the pitch. Divock Origi doesn't score goals anymore. Not good enough, is it? It's not for an elite team going for the Premiership and the Champions League. Not good enough.
Yeah, maybe just go for the Champions League now.
City squad. City could put 2 teams on the pitch that could probably, one would finish in the top 4, one would probably win the title. Easy. It's incredible. And the people slag off their owners, but they're doing what they're allowed to do. They haven't been punished for it. So do City's owners deserve credit for investing in the team?
Well, it depends. They broke the rules to do so, didn't they? And then, they chucked lawyers at it to overturn.
They won the league on the back of breaking financial fair play rules. I mean,
they weren't done for it though.
They were done for it, and then it was overturned when they chucked a load of expensive lawyers at it.
So if I was Liverpool owners now, I'll be thinking, I know it's COVID and all that business. Well, obviously there's no financial fair play, is there?
No, well, that's essentially the point of City winning their case was it doesn't really exist anymore because you can just cheat and get away with it if you've got enough money, which is what financial fair play was supposed to police was teams with too much money. So
we're missing a centre forward, and to be honest, we go through the spine of a team. I think in our first ever episode we said about spines of a team. Our spine has been completely ripped out, really. Virgil and whoever, and Fabinho having to move. That's 2 of our spines moved. What positions do Manchester United need, Ralph, to take that step up?
I think a full-blown centre half who's a leader.
I like Eric Bailly, mate. Eric Bailly has saved you about 12 points. I'm not even exaggerating. 6 points at least in the last 2 games. 3, not including today. Last-minute blocks. I think he's brilliant, Eric Bailly.
I think he's top quality, but I don't think Lindelof had a bad game today, but you didn't really have a good game, so I don't think it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was really a game where you could base it on. I think we'd have played a lot higher if Bailly had played.
Yeah, I like him.
I think we need to sort of get a. Rashford don't seem to play through the middle much. He seems to play out on the right of a front three, don't he, or left of a front three. I think you need to sort of get rid of Martial and maybe get an out-and-out striker who's going to, maybe Mason Greenwood ahead of Martial now. Sometimes Ole's got a bit of a funny theory on things.
Here we are again, talking, Ali. Do you remember? World-class players. Where are they all?
Well, we put McTominay and Fred back in, and we went. And I don't even think Fred looked like he was on the pitch.
Fred wasn't
what today?
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I think that was a masterstroke playing your 2 CDMs. Those two today.
I'd have played Matic.
I just think they cut off all the lines to Liverpool really effectively. And Liverpool actually went long quite a lot today, particularly in the first half, and which quite surprised me. But with those two in front of the back four, the Liverpool weren't winning any of the second balls at all when they were going long. Which I'm not saying that Liverpool never go long, because they, in any given game they try that, they mix it up, don't they? But I thought they were both really unassuming, but very very solid. Yeah, efficient's the best word for it. They didn't do anything fancy, but then you don't want them to in that position. And I think that that's Fred and McTominay through and through. And actually, I think McTominay is getting better and better this season.
Yeah,
I see a lot of potential in Scott McTominay.
Other than Thiago, he should be the best midfielder. He was the best.
Who was?
McTominay.
He was outstanding today. I thought he was.
But I think Fred went a bit quiet. We didn't really see much of him. I know that's probably the mark of a good player who goes unnoticed and doesn't really, make himself stand out. But he didn't really, I think Matic sometimes can be a bit more aggressive and sort of get the forward pass going a bit more. We didn't seem to link up with. We didn't give Fernandes much ball, to be fair.
Do you think you could have gone for a bit more today, Ralph? Do you not think?
Yeah,
we were just there for the taking. I think
I think our passing wasn't the greatest, and our choice making wasn't fantastic. Rashford should have passed that ball to Cavani rather than running it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I was going pass it.
Yeah, he drew Henderson, Fabinho, and Robertson all over to that side.
Yeah.
Or Trent over to that side. If he just passed it the other way, I think Cavani had at least 10 yards to himself just to get.
Cavani would have scored if he'd got the ball at the right time, there, wouldn't he? They'd done all the hard work and then just thought he'd try and.
That's got to be a penalty.
Should have played him in, but he didn't. He made the wrong choice there. Tried being the glory man and didn't pass it.
Yeah, they had a few times. There was the Pogba shot as well, Ralph.
Oh, straight at him. Unbelievable.
Either side of Alisson, I think that was in.
Yeah, either side. It was in. All the commentators are going mad about the save. When I saw it again, I was like, yeah, but he was.
Run his place. Alisson sort of turned away from it, I think. He sort of turned away and let it hit.
Brilliant. Good positioning, should we say. It was good position.
It was a good strike because of the way the ball came up to him. It just, and lucky for Pogba that it wasn't to the side or above a little bit. But I think United certainly had their chances in the second half. And you kind of felt in the last 20 minutes, if anyone was going to win, it was United. Yeah, definitely.
So, do you think that will be 2 points drop for United?
Yes.
I think it tells a story that you're gutted that you didn't win, and to be honest,
I'm gutted. I'm more gutted with the draw than I would have been for a loss. Yeah. I think we at least if we'd have lost, maybe we would have shown that we went for it.
I'm quite happy considering the centre backs we had. Henderson against Rashford, I was like, oh Jesus, I honestly thought.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. Rashford don't look too interested. To me, he's focusing on too much off the field. I know he's doing a fantastic job, getting all this government stuff sorted, but his actual playing.
He's also playing a lot, and I think
back to being Prime Minister, Marcus.
He's like half Prime Minister, half Premiership footballer. But how are you going to cope with Europa League when it starts up again? Because the whole Thursday. Because honestly, I think you looked a little bit tired tonight. United looked a little bit tired tonight, I thought.
But they're not being funny. Look what you got on the bench.
Yeah, Donny Van Beek.
Donny Van Beek.
Donny Van Beek, always on the bench.
The thing is, though, you're not going to rest anyone against Liverpool, are you? So I think that was your best first team out. And but maybe I think Ole can be a bit slow to change things up during a game. I mean, not bringing Greenwood onto the 86th minute, I thought was a bit of an error because it clearly needed some impetus. Rashford and Martial weren't playing particularly well, and at that stage, I would have been like, give him at least 15 minutes, so he's going to get 2 or 3 chances or around the box. Yeah. But you know that if you bring someone on with 5 minutes left, they might not even get a touch, let alone a chance. So it's a bit of an insult to Greenwood, really. I thought.
But at one point, he didn't even look like he was going to bring him on. He was sat in the chair, slumped away like he was sulking.
Yeah, he was sulking as well, wasn't he? You could see that he was definitely sulking.
But I think that could have been a game. That could have been a game where Greenwood could have made his mark. Yeah. That could have been a Martial moment for what Martial done a few years ago. That could have been a Greenwood moment. That could have been he could have absolutely ripped, with pace, we could have ripped at Henderson and Fabinho.
That's what you want, isn't it? Someone that's young and fearless, and skillful for big games like that. And I would have started with Greenwood over. I don't know all the facts. I don't know how they're getting on the training ground and that, but just based on raw ability and what's seen so far this season, I think it would have been good to start with Greenwood and have Martial up your sleeve for the second half rather than the other way around.
Martial is the Firmino version of United without the work ethic. Would you agree with that, Ralph? He just doesn't score many goals.
One-dimensional.
Yeah, exactly.
He's one-dimensional.
But the thing is, though, I do think he could be a hell of a player. Like, honestly,
it almost feels like he's peaked, doesn't it? Because you look at him 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I remember him in the Premier League because he used to just twist West Ham every time I played him. Couldn't get the ball off him, and he'd do all the, he'd take 3 or 4 players on, get it to the touchline, and either score or pass it to someone to tap in. He would just so skillful.
He does always score the same goal though, inside left far corner though, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him score a goal that's not inside the left, bent into the far corner. It is always the same kind of goal, to be perfectly honest. But no, as far as I'm concerned, I'm quite happy with the draw because of obviously the carnage we got at the back. But I just wish we a bit more ruthless. We could have created a few more chances, but given the chances you had and didn't take Ralph, I'm quite happy with the draw, to be honest.
And I think the thing is, Mark, if you look at how many chances you had in the game, you had more chances than Man U. And I think
they had more clear chances, though.
In the second half, I think you had the lion's share of the first half, but clean strikes on goal were few and far between in the first half, weren't they?
Was it Fernandes in the box, 6-yard box there? He should have scored. And obviously Pogba, I mean, they were glaring. I don't think we had any glare. Did we have any glaring chances like that? I don't think we had any glaring chances like that, did we?
No, I think...
Hey, I made one save, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, Salah in the 6-yard box got deflected.
Most of your shots came from outside the box, from what I can remember.
Yeah, De Gea made that save, camera save.
Thiago. Yeah. De Gea could have just stood there and gone like that.
Yeah, I got it, boys.
I got used to doing Kimberley Park, Ali. No. What subjects you got out?
Been a bit busy today, mate, I'm afraid.
Go on, George. What subjects have you got?
Oh, God. You sort of sprung that on me.
I've got one.
I've just thought of one. Do you want to go first, Ali?
Yes, because it just continues the theme. It's a short one, round robin. What's the score going to be on the FA Cup tie between Liverpool and Man United next Sunday?
I think it'll be two. Do you know what? I think it'll be two second teams with players who want points to prove and I think it could be a lot better game. Like Origi and Taki and Curtis Jones will probably start. Oxlade-Chamberlain will start. Shaqiri will probably start again. So yeah, I think it will be James Milner will start. So yeah, it'll be a good game. I think it'll be goals in that one.
Score?
I don't know who's going to play for United, but I think it'll be penalties, and I think we'll win on penalties.
I think Man United will take it, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think it might, we saw a boring sort of 0-0 draw today. It might end up going the other way in the next fixture, and it will just end up being like a 3-2 or something like that.
Oh, I hope so. That'd be nice. Well, we've got Spurs like 3 days after in the league. So I don't think I'll be pretty surprised if Fabinho plays, Trent, Robbo, Alisson. I'm surprised if any of those play. Especially with Spurs coming up. Let's be honest, we're in a fight for the top 4 now. So we got to really target the games against the other teams around us.
So it's interesting, though, how much less relevance Klopp applies to the FA Cup than other teams. You wouldn't see City, and I know you've already alluded to the fact, Mark, they've got more first team players. They've got 2 first teams. But he always puts out his first 11, doesn't he, for the FA Cup?
Yeah, but we got Spurs 3 days later in a season where it's so close and so.
Yeah, I get that, but like a lot of the teams you're playing at the moment, you had a bloody good rest over Christmas.
And we play Thursday. Is it Thursday we play, mate? Against Burnley? Is it Thursday we play?
Yeah.
So exactly. So we got a game Thursday, 2 days before. So there's no way we're playing.
That's a must-win for you, man.
What day is your game this
Wednesday.
week, Ralph? See, that's similar. Wednesday, Thursday.
You're in a must-win position. You got to get a result there against Burnley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think United will probably win on Sunday because we will not play. I don't think very many senior players.
Well, tell me about Thursday. Burnley are battered and bruised after yesterday.
Mate, they'll turn into prime West Ham on Thursday. They will literally Wooden what's his name will turn into Kevin Phillips and Niall Quinn. Yeah.
So Ralph, how do you see the cup tie go next week? Who do you think's going to win?
United 4-0.
4-0. Oh yeah, you've already said it in there.
4-0.
I think you'll see. I think you'll see Cavani start, Greenwood start, Donny van de Beek
That's
start.
enough of that, George. We're not having any of that anymore.
What was that for?
We're not having any. We're not having that, mate. We're not having that.
I just think that Liverpool are a bit frail at the minute, and you were held to a 0-0 draw by Newcastle, for God's sake. I mean, you look a bit toothless. I mean, it sounds like ludicrous to say that about Liverpool, but you do. I mean, how long has it been since you last scored?
December 27th.
Shut up, Ralph. No one's asking you.
December the 27th. So that brings me to ask the question, Mark. Did the gap between games that Klopp was longing for really help you or not?
Yeah, it did because we got Matip's back next week, where he would have missed a couple more games if we had a couple more games. Yeah, it did help us get if you like Shaqiri would have got fitter. Thiago had a week's training. I think he looked really sharp today. I think you could tell he had a week's training in him today. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. But no, I think the 8 day gap was never ever a bad thing because it's 8 more days of training for Matip, Shaqiri, Thiago, and people like that.
But they've had that 8 days and they've not scored any goals.
Exactly. Very true.
Could Klopp be the first man to win Sports Personality Coach of the Year and be sacked in the same year?
Right, Ralph. I think you've had what's in your glass, but there you go.
So I got you, Ralph. I got you. There you go. Oh, Mark. Don't turn the PlayStation off again.
Let's make a sub. Yeah. No, Klopp will never. He will never be sacked from Liverpool Football Club. He's going to be director of football after he leaves. Manager. They're carrying him out in a wheelchair.
Statue of outside Anfield.
What's going on here? They should give this free kick to Stones. Oh, he's up. It's all right. Stones is like, I love this, Raheem.
Raheem's going to hit this into my back pocket.
On my head.
There's no way it's going anywhere else apart from
John Stones gets hat-trick. I won't come on here for a month.
Okay, I'll take that back. That's actually gone in the top bin. So
he scored? Yeah. I'm on a delay here.
Yeah, okay. That's me taking a piss out of Raheem Sterling. He just bent it right in the top postage stamp.
Oh, that'll never happen again. That's beautiful.
They've scored 4 absolute stunners tonight, and City have not got out of first gear. They're going to win the league by...
I wouldn't call the third one a stunner, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, well, the way he just passes that in the far corner, that is lovely.
Yeah, the free kick is, but Stone's second one wasn't particularly.
No, sorry, yeah.
Fell to him and
sorry, I meant 3 stunners, not 4. What was your subject? What was your subject, George?
Well, I was just thinking we end up talking a lot about sort of like the top 6 contention and all that kind of thing, but it's just as close at the bottom of the table. So I was wondering, who you guys are thinking about, a key candidates for relegation?
Have a look.
Because West Brom are 19th at the minute, and they've just brought in Sam Allardyce, but they are getting points more than they were, under Bilic. They just beat Wolves. I mean, that is a massive result for them, and if they can keep on that kind of, even if it's a bit lucky, because Kieran Gibbs did that whole sort of like trying to catch the ball, handball thing. If they can keep getting luck like that and they can keep getting points, then they may well, sort of like make their way out of the relegation zone. And which teams fall into it? Brighton look decent on occasion, but they're also they concede a lot of drop a lot of points. Sheffield United got their first win of the season. It's going to take a miracle for them to be able to, they're going to have to go on an unbeaten run of like 10 straight games before they get out of the zone. Fulham, they under Scott Parker, they look a decent team, and they've had a lot of unlucky results. They were unlucky to draw with Newcastle 1-1. That's for definite, because our penalty was a dive, and they dominated us even when they had 10 men. So I wouldn't say that West Brom and Fulham are 100% tags on to be relegated, and there are other teams around that area. Newcastle are hovering there, Brighton, Burnley, you could all slip in. It's not impossible. So I was just wondering what you guys think. Who you think's going down?
Well, Brighton, for a start, Brighton have played 2 games more than 3 teams around them, so Brighton are in trouble, big trouble. I would say Sheffield United and West Brom, they'll go down. I think they'll go down. I don't think West Brom have enough quality. And Sheffield United they've got 11 points to make up. That's a hell of a gap to make up. They have got time to make it up, but I just don't think they.
No, West Brom. I would say West Brom got the weakest squad in the league in terms of. I don't think their defence is particularly talented. Newcastle opened them up time and time again when we played them. But that was still under Bilic. I think that was Bilic's last game, or was that against Man City? I can't remember. But
I would say Newcastle need to win games very quickly, otherwise they could.
Yeah.
You are 5 points off the dot drop, so you need to start winning games, mate. You do need
as I read out that fixture list earlier, I don't think Newcastle are going to out and out convincingly win any of those games. No way. If we do win, it'll be a 1-0. We absolutely didn't deserve the result sort of thing. We might draw against, say, like Crystal Palace, or against, we drew against Wolves before. Leeds, who knows? That might be a miracle, and we might end up winning. I have no idea. But out of those 8 games, I don't think Newcastle are going to win any of them. Not confident of it. So being in the relegation zone is a very real thing for Newcastle. And as soon as we start creeping, and the 5-point gap we've got there starts shrinking, Steve Bruce will be gone. There's no way that Mike Ashley would risk his team dropping out of the Premier League when he's, arguably he's the closest he's ever been to selling it. And, Newcastle in a relegation battle is almost fixed.
Yeah, I would say Fulham have got the flair to stay up. With Loftus-Cheek and Lookman, they've got players. Mitrovic when he's fit. Burnley. This could be the year that Burnley. I will go for Sheffield United, West Brom, and Brighton to go down. And I don't want Brighton to go down because I think they try and play good football.
They do.
But
Fulham, we always say, predictions almost year in, year out. A lot of people's predictions always seem to put Brighton in the relegation zone, but they never end up there. They always stay up, and they're like a barnacle. They just cling on for dear life, and
barnacle.
But they do it, and they stay up, and they've stayed up for a good number of seasons now. I don't think Brighton will, because if you put that Brighton team up against any of those other teams in the relegation battle, I think Brighton will beat them.
Brighton are in a false position, really. I mean, yes, you're only as good as the games you play, but they've drawn so many games that they should have put to bed and won, and conceded late equalisers. It's not because they don't have good defenders. It's just a mentality that once it's happened a couple of times, that the fear's crept in. So I'm with you on that, George. I don't see.
Yeah, if I was a Brighton fan, I wouldn't be concerned about relegation. I mean,
Potter's got them playing so well.
Yeah,
they play when they're on their games when they're attacking and taking the game to other teams. They're looking really.
And they've got some great players as well. I mean, Neo Mope, who's up front for them, I highly rate him. He's considering he's in a sort of like bottom half of the table team. He gets a good number of goals, and he gets a good number of important goals as well. Like when he finished off Arsenal in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, match winners.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Everton, if they win their game in hand, can go second.
Yeah. Right. So my three, Sheffield United. I think we're all agreed on them. They've got, they're not scoring goals. Got Goldham as a -22. They're on the way down. I think West Brom will probably stay up. I agree with everything you guys say about the quality of their squad, but I think we all know that Big Sam is capable of churning out results, and he's got half a season to claw back what is essentially 5 points to get out of the relegation zone. That's well within his capabilities. I think Fulham will go down because they can't defend. Great going forward, but they just can't defend. Although that's got better since the start of the season.
Yeah, that game against Arsenal, they were terrible.
Yeah, I just they can really be open up. They're prone to some really poor moments, and I put it down to the defensive coaching in the club. They clearly, the players always get the blame when teams are down the bottom of the league, but quite often they just haven't got the right training infrastructure in place. I don't think Fulham can have a good defensive coach, same as last time they were up, because they just don't look organised enough. Burnley been playing awful, but they've just got a run in them, and I think they'll have a run of 3 or 4 games where they'll pick up 12 points or 9 points, and it will just see them out of there. They'll have just enough. And so, sorry to say it, George, but the team I see getting dragged into the relegation battle at this point is Newcastle. But also, don't write off the team above you, Wolves, because everyone talks about how good Wolves are. They've been absolutely shocking this season.
10 points off Fulham.
Yeah, but we're only halfway through the season. And,
they are. They're sat in 14th and they're 10 points off.
But they don't really look like winning games at the moment for Wolves, and they're throwing away leads, and they're shaky at the back. So
I saw some news the other day that their manager, I can't say his name. I'm sorry, it's too Portuguese for me. But I'm just going to call him Nuno because that's all I know.
Yeah, Nuno.
Nuno. I've heard stuff that apparently his agent is lining up plans for him to potentially go and manage a different club. I don't know if that's preparing for being sacked or leaving the sinking ship before it all goes tits up.
You'd imagine he'd take a few of his players with him, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't understand how they're in the position they're in though, because they've got some fantastic players. Wolves. I mean, genuinely players that could get into top 6 teams. And at the start of the season, I would have said they're a top 6 club. Admittedly, that's 6th place, but they were a top 6 club. And
they changed their formation after a slow start to the season. I think we beat them. I think it was 3-0 or 4-0 early in the season, and then they played. Who else was it? They lost quite badly to someone else, and then they went to 4 at the back, and they've always played 5 under Nuno, and but they just don't look solid at all playing a 4. And previously good centre back. Who is it? It's Cody and Bolly, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Both brilliant last season, but both look quite shaky now. I mean, Cody got pulled off after I think it was 60 minutes yesterday.
Well,
that's a guy that
if I was them, I would. It sounds negative, but they've got the attacking talent and they play the way they do that they can actually pull it off a 5 at the back, which is actually technically more like a 3 at the back because their wing back is so good going forward.
4-0 Wolves, Ali, against Liverpool. 4-0 against Liverpool. 4-0 against West Ham.
Yeah. And I was very surprised because Wolves always beat us, so I always dread it. And then we went into that game this season and we just turned them over so easily. And I was like, how has this happened over the course of a few months that you've gone from a team that just always beat us? We're lucky to get a draw against them.
To a team you're right about them dropping points as well. I heard you mention that earlier about them just sort of like they can't seem to hold on to the wins. They did that against Newcastle in spectacular fashion. They dominated us all game, dominated us from whistle to whistle, but they gave away a free kick on the edge of their box with about 2 minutes in extra time left to go, and Jacob Murphy stepped up and took it into the bottom corner because their wall wasn't in the right place. So that is sloppy defending.
They did it against West Brom yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah.
So you can kind of forgive them going a goal behind to a penalty. Then they get themselves in front before half time, and then they lose 3-2.
It's got to be very, very, very frustrating to be a Wolves fan.
They haven't won a game since the 21st of December.
So
So that's what I'm saying. They've got potential.
I don't think they'll get relegated. Obviously the stats show that they have the potential of going down, but I don't think they will, just because I think there are worse teams below them. I think Newcastle are worse than them. I think Burnley are worse than them. Fulham are worse than them. West Brom are definitely worse.
Burnley beat them.
Well, that's the thing. Burnley they're in the same sort of boat as Brighton. Is the fact that they also seem to cling on to dear life every other season. Occasionally they'll push into sort of like top 10 territory, and then next season they'll be 15, 16, something like that. It's
weren't they 6th or 7th quite recently?
Yeah, they got into the I think they got into the Europa League. I don't think they had a brilliant season because they were in the Europa League. So
and did them because of their squad size. Yeah,
they've got some good players. Certainly, but they've also got a lot of particularly average players. I mean, Ashley Westwood, could you honestly, say he's a brilliant player? I mean, he was all right in Villa, but he was never a world beater.
They are hard to play against. I mean, Barnes and Wood are quite formidable when they're on together, and you've got, balls getting pinged in by, you've got some quality crosses coming in. They've always got a chance. And they're very organised under Dyche as well. Dyche. Sorry.
He's another one that I wouldn't mind seeing in Newcastle, John Dyche, if I'm perfectly honest. But he won't leave Burnley because he's got such a good team there, and I think they've just been taken over.
They have. They've been bought out by, and so the new owners are apparently loaded, and Burnley are about to become a big money side.
Yeah, well, good for them.
American.
Oh, are they?
So who knows? I mean, I don't think we'll see anything this. I mean, I think that's Sean Dyche's, prerogative this season, or at least his main goal is to stay in the Premier League at all costs, because next season they're going to be spending some serious money and bringing in some proper players. And
Torres.
It just depends on whether or not he can keep them up, which I think he might. So I mean, West Brom, I think they might stay up. If I'm perfectly honest, they seem to nab points from nowhere, especially.
Might be the last day of the season, but I think they'll do it.
Yeah, it will be close, but I think they might actually stay up. And I think you're right about teams getting dragged in. I think Fulham, as good as they are, I think they might go down because defensively they're a Championship side at the back, but they're a Premier League side going forward. It's they need to be a Premier League side all over the pitch, and they're not.
And that's a mistake they made last time, George, wasn't it? I mean, they were only in the Premier League 2 seasons ago, and they threw 100 million at attacking players, and then couldn't defend, and went straight back down with a really low points total. Yeah. Because you can have all the best attacking talent in the lower half of the league, but if you're playing the teams in the top half of the league, they're all going to beat you.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I remember them being in the Premier League and they had Dimitar Berbatov up front. And then they got relegated, and then they've sort of been struggling to maintain. They've been up and down since.
Yeah. I used to go and watch Fulham a lot because I went to uni in Roehampton. That's not far from the ground, so it was just an easy thing to go and see them. They weren't in the Premier League at the time, but it was around the time that Al Fayed bought the club, and put Chris Coleman in charge, and they signed Louis Zaha and some other really good players at that time. I'm trying to remember. They had a really good sign, and they got to the Premier League really quickly, and then kind of stayed there for quite a long while. And it was exciting to go and see a Premier League team in pretty much what was a shed that you could walk up and down the terraces on. Still, it was mad times those first couple of seasons when they were up. But
we've talked about Wolves potentially getting sort of sucked into them because they're only on 22 points. But also, let's just have a look at who's above them on one point more than them on 23 points. We've got Crystal Palace, who are good, but they're not great. And you've also got Leeds. And I don't know if you could say Leeds are in trouble because it's a bit of a difficult one because they do seem to lose in spectacular fashion sometimes. But they also win in spectacular fashion. It goes both ways for them. So I don't know.
They'll win. I think they'll win enough to stay up. I think they'll get 50 points, no problem. It's just it's got to be.
I think they can absolutely crush some teams. Like Leeds on their day, they absolutely crushed Newcastle. They can bend Fulham over a barrel. Sheffield United, they're laughing. All those sort of weak at the back teams. Then Leeds are laughing. But when they come up against sort of like a sterner opposition, then they can't do it because they can't score the goals. So. I don't know if it's really hard to say if because people were saying when Leeds first started that sort of run at the start of the season where they came really close against Liverpool and everyone's like, oh well, Leeds are going to be absolutely fine, but are they though? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's going down to, lads? All these teams at the bottom need to start scoring goals because goal difference, if it comes to the last day of the season, goal difference could be crucial. So you need to start scoring some goals at the bottom. It's going to go to the last day, top and bottom. It will go to the very last day of the season. Alex just cleared the out of his ears.
I missed what you... No, sorry, I just had to...
I'll just say the twat.
I did just mention as well Crystal Palace, and I've just had a look at their fixture list. They'll be fine. They've got their next 8 games. They're all winnable.
They've always got running them, and they've got really good. They're a good side, Palace.
Yeah, they are.
They are 10 to 13.
I just don't like them really much. I just don't like Crystal Palace.
I think most clubs have played about 10 games. I think over the last 6 weeks or so.
That's the crazy thing about this season. We're in January, but we're not even halfway through the season yet. We're not even halfway through.
Instead of the chat group this week, it's Villa that have got their next 4 weeks, and they average a game every 3.8 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Villa, to make up their games in hand, they're going to be action packed. But then
we're all 3 games in the Prem, mate. They're up there as well.
I think they'll be fine. And I think they've got a good chance of winning the vast majority of those and be that surprise top 4 side that few of us mentioned last week.
I don't think top 4, but I think they could definitely push for the Europa League. Absolutely.
No, I'm saying they'll be at the end of this little run. I think they'll be in the top 4 because they'll win.
Everton go second if they win their game announced.
Yeah.
So there's 2 or 3 teams.
It's like they won't.
But I'm enjoying this season more than I think I've enjoyed. From a neutral perspective rather than a Newcastle fan perspective. In terms of a neutral fan, I think this is a great time to watch the Premier League.
Too stressful, far too stressful.
I love it when there's a close title race. I think it's the. I harken back to Man City winning it. That game against QPR. That is one of the best moments in Premier League history, and that is all because there was a very close title race. And this one is even closer than that one. So,
of course, the best one ever was, and I am very sorry, Mark, and it was pre-Premier League, was where Michael Thomas. So it was Arsenal against Liverpool, winner takes again this season.
Yeah,
injury time when Tom.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was wicked. That was. Yeah, that was.
I'm going to have to get on, boys. All right, so I'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, Ralph.
All the best, mate. Yeah, mate. Won't be much longer on anything.
So,
as soon as Ali doesn't make his next point, really. Yeah.
So as I've mentioned several times, Mark always turns the PlayStation off when he's losing.
I went to make a sub, Ralph. I went to make a sub at 1-0 down and accidentally pressed exit game. That's all that happened. Perfectly reasonable explanation for it.
So, George,
I was just about to come back and win. And Ali just...
So, George, if you can just imagine the final game of the season, the top two teams playing each other, and then the winner coming in injury time to end an epoch of domination of, Liverpool have just, been the best team in the world for such a long time. And it was a crazy end to the season. It was live on the BBC or ITV, can't remember which one. And so everyone was watching it, the whole nation. And Liverpool just needed to draw, and it was just an incredible end to a game and a season. I've never the City one was the closest it's ever come to. It was just as exciting, to be fair, because they did the impossible, didn't they? Really.
I think the most exciting way that this season could end is if it is the two teams who are at the top of the league, and it's an injury time winner, and they're playing each other for the. I don't know what the picture was like, but I would love it if those two teams, and it sounds weird because it means one of them's going to win, but Manchester United or Manchester City playing each other on the last game of the season.
Are they?
I don't know. I'm fantasizing, but you know what I mean. Is like in terms of spectacle, that would probably be one of the most massive games in the history of the Premier League if it ever happens.
Yeah.
I'm literally just going now to see what the fixtures for the last day of the season.
It will go to the last day. Both ends, top four, title, relegation, everything's going to the bottom. The last day.
Last game of the season.
You heard it there from Mystic Mark.
It's Liverpool, Manchester United on the last day of the season, I think.
Shut up.
No, wait. Sorry, I'm looking at.
No, it's not.
It's a few weeks before. Damn it.
You had us there, George. You had us there.
It's Man City Everton. You never know, that could end up being the title contention. Leicester City versus Spurs.
Yeah, battle for six.
Leicester City against Spurs. That could be a huge game.
That could be battle for top four.
Or it could be title. You just don't know, could it?
I think if we're being realistic, last game. I mean, the Premier League winners playing each other. It's going to be West Ham Southampton last game of the season.
Well, I don't know about that.
Don't you?
I mean, Sheffield United Burnley. That's a relegation battle fight, isn't it? Fulham versus Newcastle. That could end up being who goes down. You never know.
A massive game. That is a massive game. That's a big game. You might have
knowing our luck, it'll be Alexander Mitrovic scores a hat trick, sends Newcastle down after he played for us. So,
well, you are a real positive soul, aren't you, George?
Oh, people say I'm too pessimistic. There's a difference between pessimistic and realistic, and I am realistic, and I know I've just watched so much crap football under Mike Ashley's regime that I'm who knows? Maybe a relegation would allow us to put that Saudi Arabian deal through because we won't have the Premier League in the way.
What is the reason they refused that? Because I think that's massive double standards when you look at Man City.
I think the whole thing came down to human rights, doesn't it?
Why has Man City not come down to human rights? Then?
I don't know, because they're United Arab Emirates, aren't they? Which is considered to be a bit more liberal. Compared to Saudi Arabia, I mean, let's be honest, Saudi Arabia is pretty horrendous.
No, I really hope Newcastle get new owners and a decent young attacking manager and just be Newcastle, man, because it's painful watching. And they will always be my second team. They will literally always, and Leeds are right up there as well. Because I just like big, from my day, the massive games Liverpool, Newcastle, and Leeds had. But yeah, Leeds and Newcastle, I just hope they sort themselves out and stay in the Premier League. I would be absolutely gutted if Newcastle went down. I really genuinely would.
The only consolation is knowing that Mike Ashley won't want to see Newcastle relegated because it lowers the value of his club, and he wants to sell it for at least 300, 400 million. That's if he's in the Championship, it's going to be worth half that. But when Newcastle do get relegated, Mike Ashley has a track record of actually pulling his wallet out and bolstering the team so that he makes sure that they come right back up again, which is what happens when we got relegated for the 2016-17 season. Is that we had Rafael Benitez and we kept our squad intact. That team that got relegated, we kept John Joe Shelby. We tried to keep Andros Townsend. Unfortunately, he went. We tried to keep Wijnaldum. He wasn't going to play in the Championship. But we still maintained the core of our team, core of our players, and we also had some young players come. Jamal Lascelles really sort of made himself Newcastle United's captain and main centre back in that season. So it was one of the better seasons that I've ever watched Newcastle because we were actually attacking, forward thinking. Rafael Benitez didn't have to play three centre backs. He had two solid centre backs at the back. He had depth in the squad, and we just absolutely ran right in the Championship. We crushed pretty much everyone we came across. And it was fantastic. It was one of the best seasons I've ever watched as a Newcastle United fan. It was great. Championship football is actually severely underrated, I think. It's one of the better leagues going because it's so competitive.
The problem you got Newcastle and Leeds and people like that are, with COVID, recruitment is going to be so difficult now.
Newcastle aren't getting anyone in this transfer window. We might snag a loan. I don't know because we need a left back pretty urgently, but we're not buying anyone, and we're not going to get any players. I'm not optimistic that Newcastle will get any players through the door. We need players. We desperately need players. New players in midfield and in defence at left back, but we're not going to get any of that. So, what's the point? If we're just going to continue to sit at the back, scrape on, and hopefully stay up by grinding out results with a crap football. That's literally the only reason Steve Bruce is still in the job, because A, he's a cheap manager to employ, B, he's such a nice bloke, and C, is that he gets, well, I say he gets results. Lately he hasn't been getting results, but that's the whole reason he's there, is to try and grind out games and nab a point here and there and make sure Newcastle stay up. That's it.
Christ. No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. I hope Newcastle stay up. I genuinely do. But I don't know. I just don't know if you've got the right owner, the right manager. Everything seems out of skew with Newcastle.
It all starts at the top, and the person at the top is Mike Ashley. As soon as he goes, and we get some actual owners in who are interested in seeing Newcastle progress into, a team that I personally think they should be, then I think, we can actually make progress and actually start doing that. And we could actually finally rid St. James's Park of all those ghastly fucking Sports Direct signs.
Yeah. True. I don't think you'll go down. I think you'll stay up, and I think you'll. Who's got the money to buy a football club now with COVID? Who? Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was said to be weighing up a bid at some point.
Yeah, I think that was a bit ludicrous, because I think someone asked him. He went, what's Newcastle? You know, it's
wrestling matches at halftime, centre circle.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah,
centre circle match. Yeah, The Undertaker. The Sunderland shirt. So what else you got, Al? Big Al. He looks like he's been hypnotised in the hostage video. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, just got my emails.
Basically, George, you're boring the pants off him, all right?
So last...
I was very interested, George. Oh, don't cry. Oh. Fucking hell. George, have some compassion. The man's hurting. Declan Rice is coming to Liverpool.
What's he got to be hurting about? You know,
Declan Rice is coming to Liverpool.
West Ham are doing great right now.
We're swapping Origi for Rice. That's what he's pissed off about. Yes.
Don't say that.
Well,
I don't think.
You want to talk about how he got his...
I don't think Liverpool need Declan Rice particularly.
I think Chelsea do.
United are interested, but he's not leaving in this transfer window. Yeah. Have I got anything else? Not really. If you could pick one player, regardless of cost, that you'd put in your dream team after this weekend, who would it be?
Say that again. One player to put in a dream team.
After this weekend, if you could pick one player, regardless of cost, to add into your dream team, who would it be?
Thiago.
You make a substitution.
Definitely Thiago. You watch him go now.
Wow, he picks up many points though.
Thiago still.
George?
Oh, God.
No, you can't pick God, mate. Robbie Fowler.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm pretty sure he bangs in 20 a season, God. You know, even players, when they score, and you can definitely tell they're not religious, they still look up, don't they? So.
And Robbie Fowler, yeah, that's right.
Ah.
Some of them even kiss the floor on the white line, just like Robbie Fowler did.
I'd say the one look stands out would probably be Kevin De Bruyne because he's turned it on, and Man City have turned it on. So you know that Man City are going to start absolutely. You know, they've built up their momentum and they're going to start getting their points in. So Kevin De Bruyne probably be a good choice for that because he's going to get a boatload of assists.
Eze, Palace. Yeah. Eze at Palace is really starting to click into gear. He's looking good.
Palace have got some great players, but I mean, I question. Can someone tell me how have Crystal Palace managed to keep a hold of Wilfried Zaha for as long as they have?
Extortionate asking price, and the player's a big fish in a small pond, and he settled it. Crystal Palace. He's had his fingers burnt at Man United. Don't forget, he doesn't want to repeat the big fish in a small pond trick.
I don't know. I think Zaha could do better.
Yeah, he could do. He could come to Liverpool if he wants. But what? Go to West Ham.
I could see him signing for like Chelsea or something.
Yeah. I don't think they need a winger, but I get your drift. Like maybe someone like. Fuck, it's such a crazy season, isn't it? I don't know. There's no politics this season, really.
You definitely see him signing for Everton.
What? What? No, they want Isco. They reckon they get Isco. They got James Rodriguez for a free transfer. Free!
Yeah. I think Zaha's part... sorry, what's he called? Zaha.
Old Wilf.
I think he's past his peak, to be honest.
He's 26, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's past his peak. I don't think he's as dangerous as he was. He was younger. So that's why Palace want to get rid of him, because no one wants to pay the money or take on the ego. So I think that's the reason. I think if a decent offer came in for him, Palace would sell him and he'd go, but none have. And that's the most telling point is nobody wants him badly.
It does make you wonder about players who have been tipped for greatness, who never achieved it and stuff. The one that springs to mind for me as well is Saido Berahino.
Yeah, where is he now?
No idea.
Probably non-league by now, is he?
Or sure he's at Stoke, but then someone said he's gone to Turkish second division or something.
I mean, Jack Rodwell, he's another one that springs to mind.
He's at Sheffield United, isn't he?
Yeah, but why?
He doesn't play for him. A bit like Brewster. Who do I think? People who start off and you think, I love Jordan Ibe. I've said it before. I thought Jordan Ibe was big, powerful, direct. He was awesome for Liverpool for a couple of seasons, and then he just kind of fell off the cliff. Really, not literally. Drove into a coffee shop at Bournemouth. That didn't help.
Andy Carroll as well. People thought he was going to be a world beater. He hasn't even scored 100 goals in his career.
Yeah, slight tangent from who would you bring into your dream team for who's turned a bit crap. We did this last week. So anyway, it's my turn.
You still here, Ali?
On the basis of this weekend, I'd go for Yuri Tillemans at Leicester, who I thought was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Just bossed the game.
He's still really young as well.
Passing was brilliant. Fast going forward. Now, Casper, I think, has said in the past that he is quite fast, but he doesn't look fast. I thought it was brilliant yesterday. Best player on the park by a mile. So he's someone that I think I might actually look at putting into my dream team, because I think he's only going to get better as the season goes on.
Yep.
Sorry, back to Andy Carroll.
I'm still bored of talking about Andy Carroll now. He's like the English Duncan Ferguson, isn't he? Yeah.
Ferguson didn't get injured.
No, that's
much,
true.
though,
no one dared near him. No one went near him.
It's an interesting thing that Andy Carroll is in terms of his contracts, though, because in a weird way, I think his contract is the kind of thing that should be applied to more footballers in terms of the pay as you play kind of thing. Like, yeah, you get paid a salary, but you also get a bonus for getting into the starting 11, because that at least gives players incentives to, turn up every week.
Yeah.
You're putting your best performance you can, so you can keep getting into the first team. You can keep getting paid.
I think his final season for us was a bit like that. It was Carlton Cole's for final season. So
did you hear how many 42 strikers you've had in this ownership's reign, Ali?
Yeah. Someone said it during the game yesterday.
42 strikers. I could not believe that.
How long have they been in charge of the club?
400 years.
11 years now. But
that's
42 strikers.
So they've been in charge less time than Mike Ashley.
Yeah.
And they've got 42 strikers.
But George, get this. If I was a West Ham fan, I would genuinely want to know where the money's going, because they didn't pay, and it's just the way the thingy worked out, Ali. It's not dig. They didn't pay a single penny for their stadium last season. And they're not going to pay a single penny this season either, because of the whole no fans, no police thing. That's what I'm saying. So if I was a West Ham fan, I'll be saying, hang on, you're not paying for the stadium. Where's your money going? Why are you not buying players?
So there's a couple of things here that enraged the fans. So they took over the club on the brink of going bankrupt, put quite a lot of their money in it to bail it out. Through a series of personal loans that they lent to the club with 3% interest or whatever. So every year when the club makes a bit of money from selling players on, it goes into their pockets. So we never see all the money back, because we're paying off the interest of the loans from the people that own the club, which is a nice little earner for them. So they are a group of chairmen that their primary interest is probably keep us in the Premier League. I think they'd like they're not quite like Mike Ashley. They'd like us to have a decent run, a cup run and compete for European places and stuff. But they're not willing to dig that deep to get there. And don't get me wrong, David Sutherland's a billionaire, so he could do it if he wanted to. And that's, people don't realise that, but he is that rich. So that's it. We're a model where we we're selling club, aren't we? We buy clubs, we buy players, and then sell them on at a higher rate than what we bought them for. But as I alluded to in the past, we've got no scouting network, so we make a lot of mistakes, because David Sullivan is so heavily involved in the signing of our players that he often signs players that the managers don't want. And there's lots of stories of that about from Kirbishley, from Pardew, turning up to training and just finding these players there that Sullivan's been away and signed. Sometimes it worked. One day Sullivan walked in with Tevez and Mascherano. Here you go. Off you go, Pardew. Got these new players for you. Got some quite nice players to have. Ben Rama that plays for us now, that was a Sullivan signing. Moyes wasn't keen on him, but was told, you're having this young lad. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's certainly, our track record of strikers and bad deals on strikers. Look at Allaire. We paid 45 million for him, made him one of the best paid players in the club, and then sold him 18 months later for less than 25 million, 22 million in the end. Just to get rid because he didn't fit David Moyes' blueprint, because he couldn't adapt to that system. Goes to Ajax, assists in his first game as he comes on the sub, and then scores in the 6th minute of his second game. So it's not about the fact that he's not a good striker. It's he was the wrong striker for West Ham.
You've also got to imagine though that playing in the Netherlands isn't quite as competitive as it is over here, though, is it?
No,
he's in Ajax team, which is arguably the best team in the Netherlands. So.
Yeah,
he basically just joined Man City in the Netherlands. So
with Bowen and that lad from Brentford, so you have got quite a good recruitment. So even you know what I mean, you have got good.
Well, it depends how you look at it. So but Bowen was one of Moyes' first choices. So when Moyes first came in, we signed Bowen and Souček, who were saved our season last season, kept us up. And then we finished the season really strongly, with those two players starting every game in the end. And then when we signed Ben Rama, Moyes wanted to sign Eze from QPR. And we didn't get Eze. Obviously, he went to Palace. So there's a lot of West Ham noses put out a joint from that. So the next best thing was Ben Rama, who Sullivan really wanted. Moyes didn't want Ben Rama. Didn't want him. And to be fair, it's taken him a while to get going. He's still giving the ball away quite a lot in high positions and that. But he's a little magician we're all after. But he's not 22; he's 26. So he's got to start playing. He's got to cut those mistakes out this season, really, to prove that he's a Premier League player. So the draw is out a bit on Ben Rama at the moment because of his age. We've only got him on loan with a kind of a forced option to buy due to a medical issue. That hasn't been reported what it is. But if he passes his medical at the end of the season, we have to buy him. So that'll be another 20 million going Brentford's way.
Will your owners not look at the league table, Ali, and go, Christ, it's now or never. This could be top 4. Will they say to Moyes, what do you need?
They are. They are. So apparently we're pursuing several players on several fronts at the moment. So looking at a player called Dia that plays for Stade de Reims. He's the joint top scorer so far this season in La Liga with Mbappe. Albeit 5 of those are penalties. But if nobody isn't playing, no one can do with the penalty taker on the field. We're looking at another player called Daka. I think I talked about him last week. Plays for Red Bull Salzburg. We're looking at a few attacking players. I think we're looking at a left back, filling left back position, and centre midfield as well.
Well, that sounds nice. It sounds nice that you've got ambition to sign players. I wonder what that's like.
Well, the thing is, it's not much different to Newcastle, to be honest, because quite often we start the transfer window with lots of promises and then get to the end and they haven't happened. So we'll see, particularly in January. But our squad's thinned because on the same day Allaire went, Snoddy went as well. Rob Snodgrass went to West Brom, and he could play centre mid as well as out on the left and on the right. Very versatile player, and very popular player with the fans at West Ham for everything that he did for the club. He was very community minded. He got talked down by one of the chairmen when he was out at loan in Aston Villa and came back. Basically told he wasn't good enough to play for West Ham. Came back from that loan period in the Championship and fought his way back into the side. under Pellegrini, and so the West Ham fans love Snoddy, and he's gone. But that's 2 players off the wage bill that we're gonna.
I don't think people realise how good of a signing that was for West Brom, was it? Because it sort of flew under the radar thanks to Haller's move to Ajax. But that's one of those signings that I think could end up saving West Brom.
He was excellent for West Brom yesterday. I've got to say because he's a big fish there, isn't he? He's the seasoned pro. Everything will come through him, and you'll see more of the Snodgrass that you saw when he was at Hull. Dragging the team forward, winning games, scoring free kicks. You'll see much more of that from him in the second half of the season at Palace. At West Brom.
No, I got nothing else, Dan. You got anything else?
No, I think I might go make some nachos.
That's great. That's great. That's product placement.
We've got all the ingredients.
Nice cup of tea. You're gonna watch some American football. Even though I don't know why they call it American football, but there we go. But we've got a big week coming up as well. So sometime next week, chaps. Yeah. Ali, do you want to do your thing, Ali? I had to do the intro. George, is my intro brilliant or what?
Well, first of all, you said that Mesut Ozil played for Newcastle. And you also said that the idea to talk about Mesut Ozil was my idea when it wasn't.
It was. Yeah. It was your idea. Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks, man. Apart from that, I nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
You called him.
Don't forget doors, George. Hold on, forgetting doors, George. Excellent.
Yes.
Good.
They are in.
You'll get windows to the roof next week. Yeah.
That is some very, very expensive doors. I won't go into the podcast. I don't think the listeners would very much be interested in hearing about how I had to have door frames fitted. But, they're in.
There it is. Go on now, do your thing. Thanks for listening.
Thanks very much for listening and watching this week.
So good.
This is Football Gurus with your hosts, Mark and Ali. You can find us on YouTube, Podbean, Get Vocal, and other popular internet platforms. If you want to come and join us on the show, probably give Mark a shout. I'm not that bothered really. A bit depressed about the whole thing. George, thanks for coming on and making time for your busy Sunday night schedule to come and join us.
You sound like you just had a bad,
Mark,
a bad result from a specialist or something.
Please don't interrupt me on the highlight of my week. Mark, nice books.
Thanks, mate.
There.
Makes you look really clever.
Great.
Thanks for
coming in, everyone. See you.
Want to do an actual
week.
by now, or just go throw yourself off a bridge or something?
Just see you next week if we're all still alive.
That's brilliant. Now let's pick us up on Podbean, YouTube, and Get Vocal every Sunday night at 8:00. Cheerio now.